Today I am going to talk about a topic that is that I like very much. It's a topic of my research, and I got to know this topic when I was searching my topic for my PhD, and I would like to share it with you. It's about character strengths. These are positive personality traits. And the title is a little bit metaphoric. I put it as character strengths of students, and in the sense that this is a hidden treasure in the students, and that the teachers can try to find these hidden treasures in their students. But to do this, first, it's good that teachers think about themselves and about their positive traits. And when we know our positive traits, and when we are familiar in general with positive traits, it's easier for us to recognize positive traits in our students. And when we recognize them, we can also develop them even more or foster them. So this is the topic that I would like to share with you today. I will start with a short introduction about positive psychology. This is an area in psychology. And then I will present the classification of character strengths and a new concept of signature strength. And then we will talk about the identification of signature strengths in teachers and students, and in, how to recognize and develop character strengths of students. Positive psychology is a relatively new perspective in psychology. Now, when I started studying positive psychology, it was new. Now it's 24 years. So time passes by very quickly.
It's very relative.
Relative, yes. But I think that I'm not sure how many new areas in psychology have been there since 2000. So let's say it's still relatively new. And the focus in positive psychology is positive pole of life. Because in the past, psychology was dealing more with psychological disorders, psychological illness, and that's why the focus was on the negative side of personality or on the person. And then researchers figured out that, for example, if we cure a depression, the person, it's not necessary that this person is happy, but the person doesn't have depression anymore. So it's like the point zero, neutral. And then the focus should be also on the positive side, how to help people to be happy, satisfied, to lead fulfilling life. So in positive psychology, we research scientifically these factors that contribute to happy and fulfilling life. And the topic that we are talking about today fits in the field of positive psychology. We focus on three areas: positive emotions, such as joy, happiness, satisfaction, positive personality traits, that we will talk about today, and positive institutions. And in my opinion, schools should be positive institutions. Positive institutions are those where we wish that, for example, students, if we take, for example, school, that students feel positive emotions, and we encourage positive emotions, and we provide context in which positive emotions can be experienced, and where we try to develop and foster some positive traits. So I think school is a perfect example of positive institution if we do all these efforts. And now I would like you to think a little bit about yourselves. What are your positive personality traits? And I would like to invite you that you write down some of your positive traits. It's different when we write something down. So what is good about you? Your positive traits. You don't need to read them loud. Don't worry. It's just for you, private. So, yeah. Yeah, just think about it and write. As many as you think of. My question for you now is, how difficult was this task for you? Very simple, no problem. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Yeah? Was it difficult for any one of you? Yes. What did you feel? What did you think when you were thinking about your positive traits?
It's easier to find negative ones. So trying to find positive traits of my character is more difficult. I have to think throughout and just try to push myself to find. I don't feel very anxious, but it's easier to judge and criticize myself negatively.
This is a very common answer. Also, my students, when we are talking about character strengths, they say, some of them, the majority, that they would rather write the negative ones. It's easier for them. Yeah. Is this negativity bias also maybe? Did anyone feel the same as Bushra? Or similar? Or different?
I felt that, is it for me or for the others? Is it positive for me or for the others? Because it's something different.
Yes, this is also a very common dilemma.
Yeah.
Like, if I think that it's good, it's positive for me, what would others say? Yes. Something else?
Well, the trait that you find positive can get negative as well. So it depends. Yeah.
On how much?
Yeah. Maybe how much of it.
Yeah.
And it is very important how other people see you.
No.
What they think about you, they can see where where you are brave, where you are positive, and so on.
It's just a different perspective.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, sorry.
For example, I could find my positive traits, according to what people say about me, rather than what I think of myself. Maybe someone says that you're helpful, then yeah, that's a positive trait of me, rather than I don't feel really helpful, but people say that I'm helpful.
Yeah, so it's good that some important others to us help us to recognize our strengths. In this relation, teacher students. Yeah, this is what it's about my lecture today workshop.
Just ask you something. Has anyone trained anything? Have you competed in a sport? Yeah. Yeah. So you need to think positively about yourself, right? You need to believe in yourself. Otherwise, you can't succeed.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe this shows a different background. Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe, yes.
Yeah,
Very
but
good.
also the point of view is also very important. Now, if I'm maintaining healthy boundaries and not letting myself go in a way, I can be perceived as somebody who doesn't want to help because I say no. But saying no to them, to an ask or a plea or a collaboration invitation, could actually be saying yes to myself and my life and my priorities.
And it's an art to go in between here, yeah, to balance this. Yes.
I am thinking that the positive personal traits can be influenced by the situation. Because, yes, you can recognize in yourself some positive trends or positive behavior towards some specific situation. But it depends on what it is your emotional mood in a specific time, and what it is the environment, for example. So you can discover that you have an appeal, and you can joke with this situation. But for example, if you are in front of you some people that you love, you can joke more. So this is positive personal traits.
Yes.
But in other situation, maybe with another context, maybe it is the context, not the situation, the context. So these positive personality traits, it's not so evident, you know?
Yes.
I think that is, it depends also from the context.
Yes, and the context is of course important because we behave differently in a professional environment
Yeah.
and at home.
Yeah.
So you display some strengths more in one environment and some in another.
Yeah.
For example, my students say that at home they are not so kind
Yeah.
or patient. But as teachers, future teachers, they should be patient with their students, but not with brothers or sisters. You know, in the context. So yes, and this is why, because of what you mentioned in your comments, that's why it's difficult to say, okay, these are my positive traits, but still they are here, and it's important that we think about them. And okay, when we talk about personality trait, positive traits with my students, and they get the same task as you had. They say that it's difficult. They are not sure if a positive trait really describes them or not. How do others see me, as you just said? Yeah, it's important. If I think that I'm kind, but do also others think that I'm kind. They also say, we didn't mention this, but they don't want to brag about their positive traits. They feel like they are bragging, you know, and they feel, I don't want, you know, to write so much positive about me, and they would not like to read the list. They also, some of them mentioned that they don't know how should they describe their positive traits. Like they don't have enough vocabulary to do this. They would rather write down negative traits. But some of them say, yeah, it's easy peasy, as you said. Some of the students say, it's easy, I am doing on myself, on my personal growth. I'm aware of my positive traits, and that's good also. But this is these are very common responses. So if you had these thoughts, you're not alone in this. And because of this, I think it's very important to talk about positive traits because these are the best parts of ourselves. And we show our positive traits on the outside, and we behave in accordance with our positive traits, also with negative ones, but today we focus on positive. And we should be, if we are aware of our positive traits, we are also proud of them, and we show them with pride, and we feel good, and the others feel good. And it's also scientifically proved. When the researchers were starting the discipline of positive psychology, they were posing this question a lot to different populations, and their answers were very similar to yours and their experience with this question, what are my positive traits? And the researchers realized that people lack vocabulary, how to describe positive personality traits. And in the contrast, in psychology, we know very well how to describe psychological illness. We have classifications of diseases like DSM-4, and their psychological diseases are very well defined. We know what are the symptoms, we know how to prevent, how to cure, how to describe. And there was nothing like this for the positive pole of personality. So they decided to make a classification. They said that if we make a classification of positive personality traits, they named them character strengths, we will know how to talk about positive aspects of personality. We can measure them, we can develop them, and we will all know the meaning of personality, of positive personality trait, of character strength, because we will have the vocabulary, the words to describe it. So they wanted to make a catalog where they define, measure, and define character strength. We can measure them and we can communicate about them. And the definition of character strength is that they are positive personality traits that are morally valued and can be empirically measured. So not just in general positive personality traits, but those with moral value that we want to have in ourselves, or we want to raise in our children or in our students, so that are in our culture valued, something that we would like to have or to foster. This is classification of character strengths. I prepared some handouts for you. You have here the character strengths and short descriptions. And here is one column. And I would like to invite you to think about character strengths. We will go through slowly each of them. And you can try to assess you on specific strength from 1 to 5. 1 means no, not for me. 5, yes, this is me. Okay? Maybe like a self-reflection. In the classification, just one remark, we have 6 virtues. These are more general, abstract categories: wisdom and knowledge, courage, humanity, justice, temperance, and transcendence. And these categories are valued in societies from antique times till now, everywhere in the world. They're universal. Okay. Maybe one interesting detail about how the classification was made. 53 of researchers were collecting positive traits that they found themselves from antique documents, antique essays, religious documents, songs, Harry Potter books, Star Wars, bumper stickers, and so on. And then they had very, very long list. And then they set up 10 criteria and then decided which positive traits can be regarded as character strengths. So now this is the final list. I mean, final. It can be.
This is the
This is the reference. Yes. Yes. Okay. And before we look at the classification, I would like to mention you the signature strength. It's a very interesting concept. Signature strengths are those character strengths that matter to you the most and that are the most central part of your personality. We can find in general from 3 to 7 signature strengths. And now I'm interested in how many of positive traits did you write down? 3, 4, 5, 11, good. 10, yes, very good. But the majority usually is around 3, between 3 and 7. So it's an interesting fact. Yeah.
For this, you're ranking
Yes. When we will go through the classification, you try to assess for every character strength from 1 to 5. How much is it for you? How much does it count for you? Signature strength. Characteristics of signature strength are that they are the most yours. For example, I will give you my example. One of my signature strengths is kindness, and I would say for myself that I am kind. People who know me say that I'm kind. So probably I'm kind. But you know, I'm talking about this topic for a very long time now, and it's not very comfortable to say I'm kind. You know, we are not used to it, but I think it should become normal. You know, but I'm kind, and when I'm kind, I really feel good. For example, when I don't know, I will take now our meeting for example. When we take care of you kindly, I feel very well. I'm happy because I see that you are happy. And when I help my neighbor to carry the bags on the stairs, I'm happy. or when I say hi to our receptionist, I'm happy because, you know, I say, oh, hi, how are you? And he said, oh, hi, how are you? I'm fine, blah, blah, blah. And it makes my day also. So there are little things of kindness that I try to do in my life, and this makes me feel good, and it also positively influences the others. And it gives me energy. It's energizing. It's effortless. For me, it's easy to be kind because it's my signature strength. And it's very essential to me that I'm kind, because I think it's an important part of my personality. And for me, it would be very difficult to be unkind on purpose. This is not me. No, I wouldn't feel right. So I would like you to think about your signature strength and which is your signature strength, like mine, kindness. And for you, what is for you, okay? The first virtue, wisdom and knowledge. Here we have cognitive strengths that entail the acquisition and use of knowledge. First one is creativity. It means that we think of novel and productive ways to do things, that we have very creative ideas, that we are creative, we think out of the box, or we do something creative. This is creativity. The next one is curiosity. It means that we are curious, that we take interest in different areas. One of my students said that she's very curious. She said, I Google something up and I'm so interested and I click and click and click and search and more and more and more, and I don't stop. So she's very curious, for example. Then we have judgment or critical thinking. It means that we think things through and examine them from all sides, that we are critical, you know, evaluate, okay, different aspects. Another one is love of learning. It means that we like to learn something new knowledge, new skills, new topics. For example, in COVID time, it was popular to learn ukulele, for example. Maybe you did, I don't know. And perspective, it's like to see the bigger picture, that we are very good in this bigger picture, bigger perspective. And it shows also that we are good in giving some advice to others, and that people many times ask us for some advice. So it means that we have this character strength. Our character strengths show in our behavior and in our thoughts and in our feelings. So this is how you can also recognize it if you focus on behavior, thinking, and emotions. The next virtue is courage, and here we have emotional strengths that involve the exercise of will to accomplish goals in the face of opposition. The first one is bravery or courage. In my opinion, climbers are very courageous. I'm not. I'm afraid of heights a little bit. So this is, we have the Olympic champion in climbing, Janja Garnbret. She's the first Olympic champion ever, because climbing became Olympic discipline on the last Olympic Games.
And she was my student in first.
Oh, bravo. Okay,
She was climbing everywhere, like everyone.
So you could see her yes, talent in first grade. Yes, and she climbed the highest chimney in Europe. This is in Trbovlje, a Slovenian town, and it's around 500 meters high, I think. So this was very courageous, in my opinion. I would be really scared, and I cannot climb. But courage is also when you stand up for yourself, when you say no, like Marusha said before, you know, when you set boundaries, or when you talk in front of so many people or something like that. You know, courage can be in different ways, not just something physical. Then the next one is zest, enthusiasm, energy, vitality. I would describe someone with this character strength as full of life, like, you know, smiling and energizing and enthusiastic about things, not, like this. Perseverance means that we do things till the end, that we don't give up in the middle, but we, you know, persevere and we finish what we start. And honesty or authenticity or integrity, it means that we don't pretend who we are, that we are as we are. We tell our opinion and we don't change our opinion in one group, and then in the second group we say, oh yes, I agree, and here, oh no, I don't agree. You know, so that we behave in accordance with what we think. The next virtue or the group of strengths is humanity, interpersonal strengths that involve care for others, friendship, and help. The first one is love, and it means that we value loving relationships, that it's important for us to love and to be loved, and that we also put some effort in having good and loving relationships. Next one is kindness. I already mentioned kindness in my example. It means that we care for others, we are kind, we like to do some favors for others. And social intelligence means that we know our motives and motives of others. We know how we feel, we can see how others feel, and we can act in accordance to this, so that we know how to appropriately behave in some social situations, and that we are aware of our emotions and emotions of others, so that we can take into account all this context. This context. Justice, social strengths that underlie healthy community life. The first one is fairness, means that we are fair, that it's important to us that we are fair. Treating all people the same according to notions of fairness and justice. One of my students gave me the example that fairness is very typical for her, and she said every time that justice, yeah, thank you. Every time that in a classroom happened something that was not just, so an injustice happened to one of her classmates, she stood up and she said, this is not fair, this is, here we can see injustice, and then she showed her fairness. She said, teachers didn't really like me, because, you know, I warned them about their unjust behaviors, but I felt that I have to say it loud. So this is, for example, an example of fairness. The next character strength is teamwork. It means that we are a good team member, that we can work well in different teams. And the third one is leadership. It means that we are a good leader. When we are in the position of a leader, we are a good leader. We take care of our team members, and we, guide the team members toward the goal. Temperance, strengths that prevent against excess. What do you prefer? Apple, cake? Cake, me too. I admit. Yes. The first strength of temperance is forgiveness. It means that we forgive, that we are not revengeful, that we don't, take with us something bad, that someone else did something bad for us, but that we let go and forgive. Modesty means that we don't seek the attention from everywhere, that we are modest, humble. And I have another example of my students. One of my students said that he is very modest, and I asked him, what do you mean by that? And he said, for me, it's really not important that people know that I did something. For me, it's important that the thing is done excellently, even if they don't know that it was me who did it. I think it's a very nice example of modesty. Prudence, caution, reasonableness. Prudence means that we think a lot before we decide something. And here I have an anecdote. One of my signature strengths is also prudence, but I would say for myself that it's very difficult for me to decide. I think and think and think and ask, collect opinions. And then when I was taking a course about character strengths, when I started studying this area, one of my mentor said, no, Polona, it doesn't mean that you cannot decide. It means that you are prudent, so that you decide carefully. You think things, and you decide carefully. So yeah, it was nice to see something that I thought it was negative in a positive way. And I said, okay, yeah, I can be also proud of this. So I don't rush into the decisions, but I'm prudent. Yeah, it feels better.
I have an example of prudency
Yeah.
when ladies go to buy some clothes. Very prudent, at least from men's point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. No. Yeah.
Example of humor, but you're gonna.
Yeah, it's also character strength. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And when we try on clothes, it's also good to use some self-regulation. So that we don't spend too much, or that our company, that persons who are with us don't, yes, don't become nervous. Yeah, self-regulation means that we, control ourselves. That, for example, this is for example, an example of self-regulation. If we already had 3 pieces of cake in a day, maybe it's good to eat an apple. But also, for example, when we behave and when we react in interactions with people, that if a student behaves badly, that we don't scream and be angry, but we regulate ourselves, and then we act in self-regulated way, like this. Transcendence. These are strengths that forge connections to the larger universe and provide meaning, like strengths of meaning, we could also say. The first one is appreciation of beauty and excellence. And it means that when you, for example, see something beautiful, wait for tomorrow, or today, I think. But I'm sure that you already noticed the beauties of Slovenia. That you enjoy in these feelings. It means, wow, when you feel like, oh, it's so beautiful. When you see a sunset or nature, or when you listen to music, which you really enjoy, and it gives you good feelings. This is appreciation of beauty and excellence. Or when a student makes something really good and you appreciate this, and you say, oh, this is excellent. You really made an effort here. Or if you read something nice, or if you see the progress of a student, it's also appreciation of excellence, for example. So when we notice something good or excellent or beautiful.
I have an example.
Please.
My son is 3 years old, and we were staying at their grandparents' house. Out of the window, we used to see some little trees and green grasses, and just like 200 meters after there was a house, but it was not the best view of the world, but it was nice. And he looked out of the window and he said, Mommy, look at this beauty out here. And I asked, what's the beauty here? And he said, there are trees, it's green, and it's nice. So although he's very little, he really appreciated what he saw.
Oh,
and I was
thank you.
really happy for him that he was glad and happy to notice his environment and appreciate.
It's a really lovely example. And he's 3,
Yeah,
right? So we can detect character strength in very small children.
Yeah.
And we can also learn them the language, the vocabulary. For example, you could say, oh, it's so nice that you appreciate beauty, or that you appreciate beautiful things. And I see that you feel good when you do this, and then we stimulate this. Yeah,
I'll do that.
yeah, try. I am trying this with my daughter also. When she's kind, for example, I started when she was little also, and I said, oh, this is very kind of you. It's really nice that you helped your, your friend or a neighbor or something like this. Or this was really fair of you that you told someone to something. I don't remember what was the case, but I think that if we start from the young age, they will not have the problem to list their positive traits when they grow up. So I think it's a good start.
Yeah.
One of my students said that if you look at the gallery on her phone, it's just the sunsets because she likes the sunsets, and so she takes photos of sunsets, and then she enjoys even at home when she looks at these photos. Gratitude, that means that we are grateful for things that happen to us, that we are thankful, a very important character strength. There were so many studies made when they asked the participants that for 1 week, every evening, they write 3 things that they are grateful for. It can be very small things, but the 3 good things that happened to them. And this was for 1 week. And 6 months later, after this experiment, the participants felt more happy and showed lower levels of depression than before they started this experiment. So it's really powerful. A very simple task. Just write down 3 good things each evening, and it has very good results. So if you want, you can try. Some people name this 3 good things, or what went well, like www, or a gratitude journal. Or you can also make, instead of a journal, you take a jar and you write on a piece of paper some good things that happen, and then you put in, and then maybe on New Year's Eve, you read it. Or if you have a bad day, you read it. Or maybe you can make it also in your classroom, like a happiness jar or something like this. And then if something nice happens, students write, and then you have a collection of beautiful moments that you share. I think it's a lovely idea. We have 3 more. Hope, optimism, that we expect that good things will happen, and that we also try to, act in this direction. Like that, it's just not the idea. Oh, okay, I hope that the teacher trainings will be good, but that we, make something to make it good. Humor, we saw humor before when Jose had the example, yeah? And we noticed his strength of humor, so that we are humorous, playful, that we like to joke. I think humor is also important for teachers. Yeah, do you agree? Yes. We like teachers who are, humorous and make a little bit of fun, of course, at the right time and the right amount and the right context, so that the students understand. I think that this is the most important. And the last character strength is spirituality or religiousness, how we see our place in this world, in a broader universe, like this. What gives our life meaning? Questions like this. So if we feel spiritual, we can have, like, this is our big character strength. Okay, this is the list. Did you manage to assess you on the scale from 1 to 5? Yes? Yeah? Could you find, for example, 3 of your signature strengths? When I said here yeah, it's working. Sorry. So that they feel essential to you, that you show them effortless, and that they energize you. Can you find maybe 3 or just 1? At least 1? Yes. It helps. Yes. I think that the aim of the researchers who made the classification is reached, because when we have a list, it's easier. I think we have, it's broader also. We have some intellectual strengths, cognitive strength, then we have something that is more connected to relationships, then transcendent strength, something different, and it's really wide, and I think it helps. Yes, if we have the language. Yes. Marusha noticed mentioned that it's not, and also Michaela, you said that context is important also. And for example, in my prudence, if I think too much and it takes really long time for me to decide something, I would say that this is the overuse of my prudence. It's too much, and this is not optimal for me. Or if I don't think enough. What shoes to buy, for example, or to decide something, it's underused. So the optimal is the golden mean, a little bit on the positive side, because we are talking about positive personality traits. So this is also an important aspect to take into account when we are thinking about character strength. For example, if I'm too kind, no student would make their tasks on time, and so on. We can find for every character strength something that is overused and something that is underused. So we should take into account this optimal use that serves us the best. Okay, you tried to figure out which are your signature strengths. And now please take a moment to reflect on how do you feel when you apply your signature strengths in your life. So when you show this of your strengths. Please, yes, if you can, yes.
I feel like also. I think bravery is one of my signature strengths. Not easily afraid of a negative consequence. And when I do this, even if I see a negative result of my action, I feel fulfilled. I don't regret. I feel glad that I acted in that way. I'm really brave.
Thank you. And it gives you energy?
Yes, it does. It makes me want to be braver. It energizes to go on in that direction, use that strength of mine more in my life.
Perfect, thank you. Anyone else? Yes, please.
I start hard, but I finish what I start.
Ah, good. And how do you feel when you start? When you finish? Good? Yes, very good. Yes. It gives you happy, yes. Satisfied, relieved, yes.
My signature strengths is a lot of learning. I really like the community, new areas, and I feel very happy when I talk about them. I want to tell the other people, I want to talk about the new things that I learned. And when I apply that signature, I really feel happy.
Thank you. Yeah, happy and fulfilled. Yes. Huh? Sorry? Authentic. Yeah, real you. Yes. Yes. It's. I asked my students also how do they feel when they apply their signature strengths, and here you can see some of their answers. For example, when I act in accordance with my signature strengths, I feel as the real me, just as Marissa said, the most authentic version possible of myself. Or here, I feel happy, satisfied, fulfilled, open, ready to help, and resistant towards frustrations. Or fulfilled, full of energy, happy. Very similar. Huh? It's very powerful, I think. And this is the hidden treasure of our students, also of ourselves. Yeah, it's important that we realize this in ourselves and that we try to help students to find their signature strengths. Now I prepared an exercise. I know Jose is looking at the clock. Yeah, a few more minutes. We don't have time to think about all 24 character strengths, but at least we can try to think about a few character strengths, and my questions are, how would you recognize the character strength that we will choose in your students, and how can we as teachers try to develop it? Okay, and then at home you can think about other strengths. Okay, let's see. Okay, hope. How can you recognize hope in your student? Yes.
Yeah, maybe when given with several historical examples when people was resistant enough and believed in themselves up to the point where when they have completely fulfilled all their efforts. There's several examples from the past, from the inventors history, and there might be a lot of examples.
Yes, thank you. This is a very good example how we could, how we could stimulate hope or foster hope in our students. But how can we see who is hopeful? Yes, don't give up easily. Or they are optimistic. They say, "Oh yeah, I know I will be successful in the test, in the exam, for example." Or they expect something good in future. Yeah.
I want to see the next stage forward.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Let's try one more. Authenticity, honesty, integrity. This one is a little bit more difficult, maybe.
I have an
Yes,
example.
thank you.
This week actually was the week of midterms in our university, so
You had
midterms.
okay.
Week this week, so the day before, on Thursday evening, I got an email and from an anonymous mail address from one of my students telling that there has been a lot of cheating in the previous exam. Day after, there was going to be my exam. So he told that people are cheating and taking pictures of the exam papers. So be careful. So that was a mistake.
Wow.
And he didn't, yeah, although he was saying negative things about his friends, he was a mistake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He told me.
Yeah, it helped you. Yeah. For you, it was good. For classmates, it was not. But but it was, in it was.
Maybe he also trusted me
Yes.
not to blame the
Yes.
students in the classroom because
Yes.
I'm not going to. I just want my exam to be done properly.
Yes.
But in my situation, I will not blame any one of those students, and nothing bad is going to happen to them unless there's proof.
Yes.
So that's okay.
And the students was also very fair. Fairness was
Yes.
important. Yeah.
I guess you can see somebody that that his signature strength is honesty. They are very reliable. You can lean on them, and you always as teacher know what to anticipate. Once you get to know the dynamics of the person, you can anticipate what you can expect from them.
Or maybe if they make a mistake, they admit, and apologize and so on. We could go through all the 24, but we don't have so much time. But I think it was a good start to start reflecting on how we can recognize and develop character strengths in students. Why are signature strengths important? Again, there were so many experiments where researchers asked participants to apply their signature strengths intentionally for 1 week, every day, in new ways. So just to be more, what are you the best? To be more kind, to be more fair, to be more brave, to be so on. And the results showed that people who participated in this experiment felt for a longer period afterwards more happy. They reported to have more positive subjective experience, higher self-esteem, higher feelings of competence. They were more satisfied at the job, at work, and students were also academically more successful. So it's really good to try. And you can also try in your life, to put some attention into your strengths, signature strengths, and observe yourself. How do you feel when you are kind and brave and fair and so on, and see what happens. How do you feel, how others feel, and if you have a bad day, for example, you can try to use your signature strength, and it should make you happier. You can try. Because it's, you know, the more you are, the more you, even more you. Just to conclude, from teachers towards students, as I mentioned in the beginning, it's important that teachers, that we know ourselves well, so we can also recognize then character strengths of students. Here I can make the connection to our project, the stories. Alden also gave a very good example of history examples. There are stories, and in stories there are some persons who have who express certain character strengths, and we can teach our students about character strengths also through the stories. What are the character strengths of the hero in this story, for example, and how could we have more of these character strengths? They could also maybe present some character strengths in a digital story, like in our project. It would be also a very interesting task. When we recognize and develop or foster students' strengths, we support their also their learning development, their personal development. We discover the hidden treasure of them, and we are here to help them discover their character strengths. And we teachers, we act as role models. So it's important that we are aware of our character strengths and that we apply them also in our relationship with our students while we are teaching or supporting them. And teachers who lead satisfying lives will be more able to support students in the process of their personal development in order to lead satisfying lives. So it's also important that we take care of ourselves and that we are aware of the best aspect of